and welcome back to my channel. So I have another parenting related video for you guys today. I'm going to be giving you my opinion and review on 10 different baby bottles. So as a lot of you guys know, my second baby is now rapidly approaching 7 months of age. So we've had quite a bit of time to test out these different bottles to get a feel for them. Obviously, the opinions that I'm bringing to you today are just my opinion. They're just from our experience using these bottles with our second baby. So if I say something that you don't agree with or you have a different opinion of some of these bottles, be sure to leave that in the comments below, because I'm sure the people watching this video are doing so that they can get a well-rounded review of the bottle. All right, now I don't like to ramble a lot, so let's just hop right into the meat of it. Let's talk about these different bottles. Okay, now I'm gonna start with my favorite bottle. I don't like to make you guys wait a long time for the good stuff, so I'm just gonna start with my favorites and then move down from there. So my favorite bottle that we have used over this past 7 months is the TOMO bottle. Now, I know there's a lot of people that actually like these bottles, and I think that's because they are actually really well made. They're easy to use and they have a great feel. And so I'm just gonna go over the pros with you that I found. One thing that I love about these bottles is that there's only 3 simple parts, and you can get your whole hand into the bottle to clean it. You don't need any special brushes, and it's really easy to make sure that all of these parts are completely clean. There's no milk film, there's nothing, no residue. You know that because you can see it and you can feel it, and it's just so simple. And it also doesn't take up so much room on like a drying rack because you don't have all these extra parts. Also, one thing that I did love about this bottle is the nipple. I do breastfeed and bottle feed with pumped breast milk, and so it was important to me to find a bottle that had a good flow rate so that there wouldn't be any nipple confusion or bottle preference, and we never had that with this bottle. It has a great flow rate and the #1 standard nipple that comes with the bottle, and my baby's never had a problem with it. Also, the latch on this has always been good. Get it in there. The way that this nipple is shaped has been perfect for my breastfeeding baby to have a good latch. He gets the nice flare on the nipple like he's supposed to do at the breast, and I feel like it does a great job of mimicking breastfeeding. Also, this bottle is super lightweight and super easy to hold. So by about 4 months of age, my baby was able to start feeding himself. Of course, I didn't have him feed himself all the time because he was only 4 months old, but I could give it to him to hold, and he actually liked to kind of manipulate it and play with the bottle. So I felt like it was an easy bottle for us to use and for him to use as well. Also, I do love that the bottle part of this is made of silicone and not plastic. It also has these nice air vents in the nipple, which I'm not sure if you can see right here, but that helped to ease up some of the air or gas that my baby would swallow, and so it helped to alleviate any colic or stomach upset. So I did like that as well. But one of the cons that I found with this bottle is that even though I love the shape for us to hold and for him to hold, if you want to go anywhere, this bottle will not fit into any diaper bag bottle holding compartments. So it's going to take up quite a bit of room in your diaper bag because you have to put the lid on it and store it in the main compartment, and it's just sort of bulky. If you have more than one of these, it's going to take up so much room. So it's not so good for travel or for babies that are on the go. Another con that I found with this bottle is that it's not readily available in my area. I can't find this. It's not at Target. It's not at Walmart in my area. The only store that I found that actually carries this in store is Bye Bye Baby, which is sort of out of the way for me to go to. So if I ever needed more or needed replacement parts, I had to go to Amazon to get those, which is, you know, there's a wait and it's a little bit more of a pain than just running out to the store to get what you need. The next bottles that we used and that we really liked, they're kind of my second favorite, are the Dr. Brown's family of bottles. Now these are Dr. Brown's Natural Flow bottles, and I have these like classic plastic one that we started with. We upgraded to the bigger one, and then the one that I use most often is the glass version of the Dr. Brown's Natural Flow. As you may know, Dr. Brown's bottles are built to prevent and avoid colic, and they are pretty well known for being good at doing that. So if you have a baby that gets gas pains or suffers from colic, Dr. Brown's is a great option. And the way that they work is they come with this optional use vent. Now we used this a lot when my baby was a newborn, but whenever he got older, I quit using it. That's why it's not in the other bottles anymore. And this works really well for channeling the air up and out of the nipple and into the top part of the bottle when you're feeding, so that way your baby's not swallowing as much air. So it does work great for that. Also, I found that this nipple was really easy for my baby to latch onto. He got a proper latch on the base of this. The long part, I don't really know, the top of the nipple part was long enough to fit securely in his mouth, and it mimicked breastfeeding. So that was really good. He had no problems taking this bottle. He liked it right from the start. There was no effort on my part to get him to drink from it. And as I mentioned, it did, we did avoid some stomach upset by using it with the vent inside. That being said, there were a few cons that I found with this bottle, especially as a breastfeeding mom. So I used the #1 nipple from Dr. Brown, which is supposed to have the slowest flow rate, but I still found that no matter what I did, even when these nipples were brand new, they leak. If you turn this bottle upside down or you hold it to feed, milk just flows out with no effort put out by your baby. And if it turns sideways in your diaper bag, it leaks. Sorry, I had to go get him. So any amount of leakage, whether it's coming out of the side of your baby's mouth because the flow rate is too fast, or if it's leaking in your diaper bag, it's such a bummer. Also, one issue that we had with this bottle was nipple confusion. Now, the flow rate is so fast out of these that my baby didn't have to do any work to get the milk out. He could sort of just lay there and just swallow. And so when he was very young, that was a big problem for us because he started to he started to prefer the Dr. Brown's bottle over nursing. And I only use bottles part-time. It's not a full-time thing for me. And so I definitely didn't want him to have to start pumping all the time because he preferred the bottle. So we had to fight through that nipple confusion, fight through that bottle preference. And it was really hard for me when he was just trying to establish nursing. Yes, and I was trying to get used to having 2 kids. It was just this whole other headache. So if you do plan on breastfeeding as a primary means of feeding your baby, I don't really recommend Dr. Brown's bottles because of their fast flow rate. And I noticed when I looked online that was a common problem that other people had as well. They leak, they have a really fast flow rate even in the #1, and it's just a little bit more difficult to go back and forth between breastfeeding and using Dr. Brown's because of that with some babies. The next bottles that we used and that we had a pretty good experience with were the Avent bottles. Now I started, of course, with the newborn size plastic Avent bottle and then quickly moved up to using the glass over time because I do prefer glass over plastic. So this is the standard Philips Avent bottle, and I believe the glass version is called the Philips Natural bottle. It comes in a green box. As you guys probably know, these bottles are really easy to find. They're available at pretty much any grocery store. And they've been around for a long time and they are tried and tested. So the nipples are designed to mimic breastfeeding. They're designed to reduce colic and gas, so that is all good. And these were really easy for my baby to latch onto. He had a good latch with these and there was no issue. He didn't reject them. It was easy to get him to use these bottles. One pro, if you do decide to go with the Avent system, is that all the parts are completely interchangeable. So you can move up to the Avent sippy cup. You can put the sippy cup tops on your bottles. You can put the handles on the bottle so the baby can self-feed. It's all interchangeable. So the parts really do last a long time. That being said, I don't know if the design of this bottle is the best because I noticed if you do not get the nipple in just right, or if you do not screw these threads on just right and super tight, the bottle will leak out of the sides here and it will leak out of the edge of the nipple. And leaking is such a pain. You don't want that to happen. You don't want your valuable breast milk or your expensive formula leaking out. You want it to go to the baby. So yes, that was a pain that I found with these bottles. They do leak. Also, the glass bottles don't fit in the diaper bag as readily because they're not the appropriate size for travel. So if you do plan on using these and traveling with them, you'll want to get a diaper bag that has larger bottle pockets, or just plan to have them in the bulky part of your diaper bag. Another con I have with these glass bottles is that when you buy the glass bottle version, it comes with the #2 nipple, which Avent says in their insert is the one that they think most closely mimics the flow of the breast, or most closely mimics breastfeeding. But what we found is that the #2 nipple is actually way too fast. It actually kind of drips out. And so I had to buy #1 nipples separately and then use them with my glass bottles. Next up are the bottles that I really, really wanted to love. They are so cute. They are glass. They fit in a diaper bag. But alas, they did not work for us. These are the Lifefactory bottles. As I mentioned, the pros already, they're glass bottles. I love that. They're manufactured in France, and they have this silicone sleeve to make it so that you can take them on the go without risk of them breaking. They also fit into a bottle sleeve, and they're kind of that classic bottle shape, which I like. But the cons of this for us, something on there. The cons of this for us was the shape of the nipple. I don't know what it is about this base, but whenever my child was doing his latch, you know, like they make this sort of like fish lip whenever they latch onto the bottle, his lips were actually kind of going around this plastic base, and he could never get a comfortable latch to actually drink from this bottle. So he was just kind of chewing on it and saying like, and his facial expression was just sort of like, what is this? So it never worked for us as a bottle. And another con of these is that they are outrageously expensive. I justified it to myself to buy these two because I was like, okay, he's gonna love these. They meet all my criteria. They're gonna be awesome. And then they didn't even work. And they were about, I think at our local Whole Foods, they were just under $14 a bottle, which is insane, right? I should never have spent that. So these are super, super pricey, and they just didn't work for us as much as I wanted to like them. The next bottle on my list that did not work for us is the Tommee Tippee, I think it's called Closer to Nature bottle. Now these are actually pretty popular and they have somewhat good reviews online, but they just didn't work for us. This nipple is really, really firm compared to some of the other bottle nipples that we had been using, and my baby just couldn't get a comfortable latch. He did not like that at all. Also, this plastic feels really flimsy to me, and this ring especially that holds the nipple is so much thinner and more flimsy than the other bottle rings that I use. Now, if you're using bottles every day and you're sterilizing them and you're boiling them and you're washing them in the dishwasher or by hand, they are getting they get a lot of use and abuse, and I just feel like this plastic ring will break down a lot quicker or crack more quickly over time. And also the bottle is the same way. I can pretty much like squeeze it. I don't know if you can see that flexion, but it's just not as strong as some of the other bottles. Another issue that we had with this bottle, the couple of times that I did get my baby to sort of use it, over time as the milk starts to go down in the bottle, it has such a tight vacuum and these vents don't really work very well. And I noticed that the nipple would sort of start to invert like this, and then I would have to loosen up the lid so it would like pop back out and be usable again. And I thought maybe that was just a problem that we were having. Maybe I was doing something wrong, but I looked online and I saw in some of the reviews on Amazon that other people were having that problem as well. So that can be frustrating if you're trying to feed your baby and say they're falling asleep and then you have to stop and manipulate the bottle and then get it back going. So this bottle was a con for us. I wasn't a fan of the Tommee Tippee. Another bottle that I was not a fan of and that we were actually never able to use were the I think you say Mom or MAM brand bottle. Let's see if you can see it here. And that is because this nipple is just sort of odd. It is like a square and it's like a flattened square, which I guess is what the breast is supposed to be like once your baby is like latched on. That's sort of like the shape it's supposed to take in the baby's mouth. But I don't know, my child was just sort of weirded out by this and we never could get a good latch. And then another issue that I have with this bottle is that it breaks into 3 parts, which you would think maybe that would be good for cleaning because you can fully access the bottle this way without needing a special brush. But whatever this system is, I just feel like there's a lot of places where mold and bacteria can grow in this. It also takes up a lot of room on a drying rack. So there's a lot of parts to clean, a lot of parts to sterilize, a lot of places where bacteria can grow. I'm just not a fan of that kind of stuff. I prefer something more simple where you know you get everything clean and you don't have to keep up with a lot of parts. So this, I wasn't really a fan of these bottles. Now the last bottles that I'm going to talk about are the ones that come with the most commonly used breast pump systems. Now I have a Madela manual pump and a Spectra dual electric pump, and so I had the bottles that came with both of those systems, and I did test them both out. Now with the Madela bottle, I definitely liked that one the best. I lost the nipples that I had for mine. We sort of beat them into the ground, but they were super easy to use. The nipple is just like a basic baby bottle style nipple. I mean, it reminds me of like the baby bottles I had for my baby dolls growing up. But these bottles are actually pretty flimsy. You can see I can like squeeze and crush that. So if you want this to be your primary bottle for your baby, you're gonna need a lot of replacement parts, just because over time, I don't feel like these hold up quite as well as some of the sturdier, more sturdy options that you can buy. Now the other bottle that I have is the Spectra that came with my Spectra breast pump, and we were never able to use this. I tried a few times because I thought it'd be so much more convenient to be able to put this nipple onto the bottles that I pumped the milk into, and I wouldn't have to do any transferring, but this nipple was just too odd. Now if you compare it to ye old Dr. Brown's, if you compare the nipple to the Dr. Brown's nipple, let's see if I can hold them up beside each other, see how much shorter the actual part that goes into the mouth is compared to the Dr. Brown's. Now whenever your baby is breastfeeding or naturally feeding, they pull a lot of breast tissue into their mouth and it goes pretty far back, which I think is why the Dr. Brown's works so well. But you can see with the Spectra bottle that the actual nipple part is really short, and then it quickly goes into this base. So maybe that would be okay for a tiny newborn, but for us it didn't work. It never did work. So I don't know if any of you have been able to use these Spectra bottles, but we definitely weren't able to use them at all. So I don't recommend them, just because we didn't get to use them or test them out. Okay, so that wraps it up for all the bottles that I was able to test for you guys. If you have hung in there this long and watched this video all the way through, then I thank you so much for that, and I hope that you took away something valuable from this. If you have been able to try any other kinds of bottles, or you have opinions on any of the bottles that I mentioned, as I said before, please put that in the comments below, so that if someone is actively searching for information about bottles, they can find it here. And also I will be making a blog post on my blog that I'll link in the description. So if you want a place to kind of take all this information that's like easy to see and maybe print out, you can access it there. As always, thank you guys for watching. Congratulations on your babies, and I will see you guys in the next video. Adios.